So Joseph Smith says, okay, I'll fix it. I'll become the president, and I'll rule the nation, and I'll have all the power, right? No.
So no, he's not running for president so we can get power over people.
You have to protect your citizens.
That's intense, and that's something only Joseph Smith, the Spirit of God, the Scriptures, and Emergent Zion.
But don't let people tell you, oh, he was running for president. He was so power hungry. Like, don't let him tell you that. He did what he did because he wanted rest. He wanted his children, their community, to be safe.
This episode is brought to you by tiny3dtemples.com. For a discount to everything in their online store, please check out the coupon codes in the description below. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Word Radio. I'm your host, Cardon Ellis, joined in the studio by Austin Falter and Jonah Barnes, the Associate Professor of All Things Apocryphal and author of Lost Gems of Genesis. Austin, you have an episode about Joseph Smith for president? What's going on here?
Oh, yeah. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I read the book from Spencer McBride on Joseph Smith's presidential campaign because I was like, he ran for president? Like, when I found out, I was like, that's cool. I want to learn more. And eventually I'm like, okay, I got to read the book. So I read the book, and it's way better than I thought. It's really cool. And Cardon, I think you in particular... if you didn't have a testimony of the prophet before, I think you're going to like how fiery he got in his presidential
Really?
Do you think Cardon would like that?
I think Cardon will like that for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay.
No, it's cool. I think right now there's kind of two things I hear. One is from those who maybe don't like Joseph Smith, right?
Yeah.
And why do they say he ran for president?
Because he just wanted power.
That's right.
He was the Muhammad, modern Muhammad, trying to create a theocracy, and
yeah. There you go. So that's number one. And then the second thing I hear more from like members of the church is almost like a denunciation of anything he did that wasn't directly tied to his prophetic role.
It wasn't directly
It's like,
spiritual.
oh well, he tried to run a bank and that didn't go well. He tried to run for president and that didn't go well. So like. Let's stick to his revelation.
He's only a prophet when he's speaking as a prophet.
I know, but that's kind of the same attitude I get. It's like, yeah, he messed up on that, so he messed up on that. It's just kind of weird.
It's like Mormon ex cathedra.
And they're not trying to be. They just like they don't understand it. They don't know the story, and so they're like, maybe that was weird. It was freaking cool. So
I haven't done a lot of research on his president's role. This is going to be interesting.
Oh, it's going to be fun. So. Here's what happened. And if it was 2025, honestly, like some of his stuff back then, honestly, still would have made like solid for a solid campaign today.
All right.
So yeah, okay, I'm stoked. Okay, so the reason he ran for office in the first place, he was a prophet. He's responsible for all these people in Nauvoo, right? He's got these huge. I don't even know. It was probably pre-Nauvoo when this whole thing started, right? But he's got tons of people that kind of rely on him as their leader. And what's happening in this time period to the saints? They're getting persecuted, big time. And not just from like people, from mobs and from governments. So the kind of the start of this is the Missouri War. 15,000 Latter-day Saints had to flee their homes. 15,000.
Really?
And you think of that today, like we just had a shooting, one of our chapels. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are like, I don't feel super safe going to church. There's kind of this like, wow, I don't feel, and it's like, okay, that's irrational. Like we should go, but like, geez, if churches are getting shot up, well, back then it was much worse. Much worse.
Not just my church was getting shot up. It was getting shot up, then burned, and then anybody escaping was reshot again, and then they went to your house to finish you off.
Latter-day Saints were getting Latter-day Saints were getting killed, and it wasn't safe to live in your home.
Right.
And the law wasn't there to help you.
Right.
And Joseph Smith, 18th century America, it wasn't just Mormons. It was anyone who wasn't white Christian, believing our version of Jesus. Anyone who didn't fit in that, Shakers, you can kill them. That's fine. Blacks, it's fine. Yeah, you can
right.
string them up, and
Jews,
they did.
Gypsies, we forgot. We actually outlawed Judaism under Theodore Roosevelt during the Civil War for a brief period of time.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Yeah, there was actually. Ooh, dude.
Wait a minute. Theodore Roosevelt Civil War.
When he was a general, there was a time. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, but there was actually not like the Mormon extermination order, but there was like some 2-week period where like Judaism. Oh yeah. Like it, dude. There's more anti-Semitism in the history of America than you'd like to believe.
Wow, that's wild.
So yeah, look up The Mormon Menace by Patrick Mason. You'll see a lot of the anti-Mormon violence in the South. That's a good book by him.
Well, there was a lot of vigilante justice in colonial America. That was kind of the system that they had, which is one of the reasons why Joseph said, "Okay, if we're gonna have laws, we got to have laws."
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was big on that, and it wasn't just vigilantism. The big thing was mobocracy. Mobocracy was rampant.
Right.
So mob violence, 18th century America was awful, and we weren't protected by our own constitution, like you were saying. Like we had these laws in place. They fought a war for it, 100 years before,
right.
And yet we weren't upholding that
right.
at all. And already, we think of like our politicians as super corrupt. Already they were like, America has fallen from our constitution, from George Washington. Like we've gone way off the rails, and this was just 100 years later.
Yeah, now just to correct myself also, by the way, I just looked it up. The most prominent anti-Jewish law during the U.S. Civil War was General Order Number 11, issued by Union General Ulysses S. Grant in 1862. I was wrong. It wasn't Theodore Roosevelt, but I was right that it was during the Civil War. And although this order was quickly revoked by President Lincoln, it represents a significant episode of government-endorsed anti-Semitism in American history. Yeah, more on that later. Keep going.
Wow.
Okay. So Joseph Smith says, okay, I'll fix it. I'll become the president, and I'll rule the nation, and I'll have all the power, right? No, not at all. That's not how any of this started. He started by saying, okay, well, we're getting chased out of our homes. We kind of need help here. Well, we'll go to the government. Oh, we can't go to the governor because extermination order, and if we showed up in a court of law in our own state, they don't care about the Constitution. So we've got to go to the president.
We can't appeal to the governor because he just signed the Mormon extermination order.
Right.
It's like...
Right. And it might have, I don't know dates. I'm going to get all the dates wrong, but it might have been before or after that. I don't know. But all I know is they were having issues with state government. So they go to the president. They try to go and meet with President Martin Van Buren. So he shows up and explains the situation that they're in.
Is that this guy right
Oh, yeah. Van Buren. He was like the quintessential corrupt fat politician.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of knew it. Like he ranked, what do we have, 45 presidents? He ranks number 32. So he's not very high on the list.
And that's quite the list.
It's quite the list. That's quite the list. He ranks number 32. So he's not very popular. And even in his day, by the time he was done, they're like, oh yeah, this is the fat corrupt president.
Fun story about Martin Van Buren. When he was elected and came into the Oval Office, came into the White House, there was a long-standing tradition in the United States presidency for the past several decades to accumulate cheese. Yes, cheese. And so there was there was a piece of cheddar in the White House over 1,000 pounds, and it made the entire place stink so badly that when he got there, he's like, we have to scrub this whole place. And so they spent the first few weeks of his presidency scrubbing every surface and every rug and replacing curtains.
Van Buren did this? He had to clean it all up?
Yeah, so Van Buren comes in and he's like,
why would they accumulate cheese?
It was some tradition with Thomas Jefferson. I don't know where it came from.
Wow.
Anyways,
okay. So he shows up.
His presidency stank from day one.
He talks to Van Buren, and Van Buren replies, help you? How can I help you? All Missouri would turn against me. In other words, if I try to run again and I help the Mormons, I'm not going to get any votes in Missouri. So he turned him away. Yeah, he turned him away.
And I also just fact-checked this, and yes, Martin Van Buren inherited a massive pungent wheel of cheese left by Andrew Jackson.
Told you.
And had to deal with the lingering smell and aftermath, including discarding some of the cheese and banning food at future receptions.
Told you.
Okay, you were right. Keep going.
I'm telling you, the Apocrypha's true.
Yeah, keep going, Austin.
No, but I'm amazed that members of the church are surprised by this, that a president would be like, I can't help you because politically it's not good for me. And we're all like, like a politician doesn't do the morally right thing even though it costs them politically. Like, yeah, newsflash, that's politicians.
Yeah.
What did you think? Like,
Yeah.
of course.
The guy that just shot up Grand Blanc, Michigan and shot 10 people and killed 4 literally was ranting 2 days before how Mormons are the Antichrist. He's on record as having said,
Sure.
I'm an anti-Mormon, basically with an animus against Mormons for their religion. You know, like he's on record as an anti-Mormon, and the FBI is still like, well, we don't know if this was a religious hate crime or not. You know?
So Joseph Smith, he doesn't have a very high opinion from this point on of Martin Van Buren. In a newspaper, he says,
red pill.
Van Buren was not as fit as my dog for the chair of the state. For my dog will make an effort to protect his abused and insulted master, while the present chief magistrate will not make so much as lift a finger to relieve an oppressed and persecuted community of the free man.
Brutal. Nice.
So
brutal.
he's starting to get fiery here. So gets back and he's like, shoot, that didn't work. So I'll run for president, right? No. He says, okay, we got to go to Congress. Let's go to Congress. So he goes to Congress and he brings a bunch of people and they kind of give their spiel to all of Congress and talk about the 15,000 members that have had to leave their homes. They talk about the murders that have happened. And Congress can't do anything. Doesn't help. He said, well, it lies. The states are supposed to be in charge of this. Is pretty much the sentiment.
Yeah.
And the states, unfortunately, Joseph Smith said this, states' rights doctrines are what feed mobs. They are a dead carcass, a stink and they shall ascend up as a stink offering in the nose of the Almighty.
Brutal.
So, and that's Governor Boggs. Again, it's like he couldn't go anywhere. So now they've tried Congress, they've tried the president, they've tried the states.
Tried the state.
And at this point, they're like, should we move to Texas? Should we flee? Should we? They meet in the I think it's Council 50, but there's a million councils, so I don't remember. I think it was Council 50. Which is the Council 50? Is that
more civil?
It's a more civil thing, but it's also a church thing, or is it? It's kind of both, right?
Yeah.
Because Nauvoo is the church. Anyway, so he's in this meeting with more so civil, kind of a civil conversation, like what should we do? And they vote on it, and they're like, we think we need someone in office that can help us. Already they were voting as a block because they realized we need to like all combine together on anything. And whoever we vote for, it just needs to be good to us. That's it. And so he does. They say, well, you're going to run for president, and they voted on it, and he's like, okay, that's it.
Now, and I just want to clarify, pre-Abraham Lincoln, the presidency didn't have as much power as we think it does. Mm-hmm. So, like, he ran for president, he wanted to rule the world. Actually, no.
People couldn't name their presidents back then.
They couldn't name the president.
And it wasn't until after the Civil War that Americans even called themselves Americans. They used to say, I'm a Virginian, I'm a Missourian, I'm a Floridian.
It's not like they're watching social media and TV to stay tuned into what the president does.
The top floor of the Capitol is the legislature. The second floor is the executive. The legislature was more powerful. It was supposed to be so. No, he's not running for president so he can get power over people. No, and actually he
was simply trying to veto anti-Mormon violence.
Right.
So then he starts running, and they eventually land on is it Rigdon? No, it's
for his running mate.
Who's his running mate?
Oh boy,
I think it was Sidney Rigdon. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Well, here's his little
it's
poster.
It's Pratt. It's
This is what it said. Here it is. No, look, it says
Sidney Rigdon.
For president, General Joseph Smith of Nauvoo, Illinois. For vice president, Sidney Rigdon of Pennsylvania.
Okay. So they got Joseph Smith. They decide on Sidney Rigdon, and then he calls the 12 apostles to and others, I think, to missions to hand out political pamphlets.
Right.
And the funny thing about that is they start doing it, and some of them just suck, and they're like, I'll just stick to the Book of Mormon because I'm like good at it. So like some of them like just couldn't figure out how to do the political stuff, so they just I'll just preach the gospel. But they send out missions, and he starts campaigning, and so this is his platform. This is some of the things he was running on, and he published a pamphlet, and it was Pratt who helped him write.
Oh,
that's why.
Okay.
And it's General Smith's views. My favorite one. Okay, he wanted to shrink the size of Congress by half, so that they could get more done. Because he's like, there's too much yapping in Congress. Like it's just they're so inefficient. We need it. And he thought we need to shrink their salary down to $2 a day. They're making $8 a day.
$8 a day.
$8 a day. Farmers only make $2. They should make $2. So you want to cut their salaries, which
Brutal.
everyone is for today. You know?
Okay. Well, no, actually, I would increase them so they don't have to be as corrupt. But anyway, keep going.
I'd abolish the whole thing.
Okay. Sorry, the Lorax is getting angry.
And then,
Money to those politicians.
emancipation. One of the first reasons that mobs were scared of Mormons is because their views on blacks.
Right.
In the first place.
Hey guys, we're going to press pause just for 1 second to thank a sponsor, none other than scripturenotes.com, the coolest way to read your guys' scriptures online. If you guys want to receive a small discount on Scripture Notes, you can actually use the code WARDRADIO and you'll get a 14-day free trial to Scripture Notes. Totally worth it, totally awesome. I use it in every episode. Now, back to the episode.
And
Horribly racist views, like my pastor told me.
right.
No.
No, the opposite. His whole life was kind of in between. Am I an abolitionist? Am I an emancipationist? Like, and there were different terms. I forget. There were different political views, and it's like, do we free the slaves all at once, or do we find a system to do it slowly so there's not a civil war? And his views kind of changed throughout time. But when he ran for president, it was, I've got a plan to free the slaves. And we're going to sell land, and we're going to buy the slaves from people so that we don't just like start a war. And we're going to kind of do it slowly, and we've got a plan to do it. And also cutting Congress's salary is going to go toward that. And like he had all these plans to...
Wow. Cut Congress's salary to pay to free black slaves? I love it.
Yeah, this is awesome. Guy's a hero.
So then, this one's crazy because he was so mad about, we have this Constitution and our rights aren't being protected. It's like, what does it mean if none of it's being protected? Religious freedom was a huge thing. So he wanted a capital punishment for any public official who refused to assist those denied their constitutional rights.
Dang.
Whoa.
So if you don't help the Shakers when a mob comes after them, we're putting you to death.
Holy
Because
cow.
you have to protect your citizens.
Wait a minute. This is for any religion.
He wanted, this isn't just for the Mormons.
I love it.
He just wanted to enforce the Constitution so that his people were safe.
Awesome.
Dude, Joseph Smith was super based.
Isn't that wild?
Like, First Amendment alpha Chad.
He wanted to annex Texas, which is weird because at the same time they're like, should we move to Texas? Because they're not a part of us. So, like, they were still having these conversations like, what do we do? I don't care if we stay. We just need to save our people. And that was kind of the whole vibe of the whole thing. He wanted to give president authority to send an army to suppress mobs because mobocracy was so awful.
There you're still arguing the posse comitatus clause back then.
Hey, I live in Portland. We're way past.
I was about going to say I've had the National Guard in my town because of the BLM riots. So,
and then he said this. You're gonna love this. You've heard this.
What?
I have sworn by the eternal gods that I will never vote for a Democrat again. It is the meanest, lowest party in all creation.
What? I haven't heard that.
You haven't heard that?
Joseph Smith said that.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, the parties were
The
a little different
meanest
back then.
party.
But,
Meanest, lowest party in all of creation?
Meanest. That's funny. Like,
Meanest is awesome.
Wow. So funny. He got fiery that's the thing I think people don't realize about Joseph Smith in general. When he wrote, or when he received revelation, it was like completely different. When he's up speaking, like out loud or being interviewed, he was snarky. What? Like King Follett is way different than DNC 92 or whatever. You know, it's a different vibe. And I love hearing him speak because he was very bold.
Dude, this Joseph Smith's presidential platform was crazy. Yeah,
so
this is awesome.
Sends his apostles out, and then this is when things are getting pretty dicey in Nauvoo, and I don't know. I'm not a historian. I don't know all the things that led up to his martyrdom, his assassination, but it seems very clear that his assassination was an intentional political assassination rather than like a spontaneous or like a religious thing. It had to do with his presidential campaign. Oh, the Mormons are gaining power. They vote as a bloc. We're worried about them. Now they're running for president. He probably wouldn't have won. He was gaining traction, sure. Even him just running and being in the running is helping their cause and bringing awareness to it. Probably wouldn't have won, but they were worried about it. What if he did win?
Well, then what if he runs for governor next?
Yeah, right.
I mean, he was a former mayor of the second largest city in all of Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it rivaled Chicago at the time.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was legit political. And remember, Abraham Lincoln was a nobody. He got a minority vote, and he still won the presidency from Illinois. So, there's no chance he would have won. Well,
that's not true either.
Chance.
There's not no chance. It's not no chance, but it was definitely. It was unlikely. I haven't heard anyone say, "Oh yeah, he was in the running."
Was as slim a chance as Evan McMullen back in the day when everybody in Utah was like, "Well, maybe if all the electoral votes end up being even here and even there, it might come down to the three of this guy." And I don't know if you guys remember that.
I remember McMullen. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the county. When I was doing my family history about the Civil War, the county that Carthage and Nauvoo, that county over there, actually, Illinois was weird. Illinois was blue and red, all mixed together. Even though it was kind of in the north, it had bastions of Democrats, of pro-slavery Democrats in it. And there was actually a faction from that county who immigrated down south at the outset of the Civil War to join the Confederacy to go fight against the North. And it was from, I can't remember the name of that county, but from that county. And so there were a lot of Democrat pro-slavery people around Carthage in that county at that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So there it is. He would have made a really good president. That would have been crazy. But
that's crazy.
That's well, I mean, I don't know. Can you say that? You'd want to think it, understanding his temperament and his personality and so on and so forth. But also, would he have been a president that was only consumed with the goings on in the West?
Consider this. Consider an alternate history.
Yeah.
Let's say Joseph Smith did get. Let's say he didn't even get elected. Let's say he just made it to a major platform, and his statements got printed in newspapers, and he ran against some pro-slavery Democrat who lost. Still, there would have been tons of Americans who read, what if we did sell our public lands and buy slaves out? Could we do that?
Yeah,
I mean, if he had brought that to the fore in 1844, 16 years before
Civil War could have been avoided.
The bloodiest war in American history.
Dude, think of the alternate history if the two members of the church that have ran and been significantly close to winning would have actually won. I haven't had health care since Obamacare was passed.
What are you talking about? He said you'll never lose your plan.
Had Mitt Romney
said you won't lose your plan.
Yeah, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor.
I don't trust you.
That.
You can keep your doctor.
But had Mitt Romney won, think of how different the trajectory of our country would have been.
Different.
Economically, financially, whole nine yards. And, you know, this is all history now, an ancient history to some. Gen Z doesn't even know who these people are anymore, right? But if he would have won, think how different America would be. And then also think, man, if Joseph Smith would have won, would we have averted the Civil War?
Well, what if they hadn't driven us out of Missouri? What if they just not killed us and left us in Missouri? We would have voted to make Missouri a free state, and then the Civil War would have been moot because it wouldn't have spent 30 more years percolating the divide between free and slave. I'm sorry, but America kind of got what it deserved. It was horrible, the bloodiest war in history. More people died in the Civil War than all the wars America's ever fought combined up until
you don't want to say what it deserved, but like, when you destroy the thing that's stopping the bad thing from happening, a natural consequence is the bad thing.
And you kick the can down the road for years, and everyone knows this is going to erupt, and you keep putting it off, and the Mormons give you a chance.
Yeah.
Give you a chance, and you kick it down the road, and
you
eventually
never want to say,
it explodes.
like, nobody deserves violence.
No.
You think, like, what did you expect?
What did you expect?
Yeah, what did you expect?
And that's why Brigham Young said, when they asked him, which side are you on in the Civil War, he said, oh, let them soak in their own bathwater. We gave them a chance. They killed us. They our women into infertility. They kicked us out into the wilderness to die. We watched our children's feet bleed across the plains, and you're coming to us for our opinion on civil war? You can have each other. You deserve each other.
Really? That's what he said?
That's what he said. He said, I hope the South punishes the North, and I hope the North punishes the South.
Oh, jeez, man.
Brutal.
Yeah, because in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, moving into Nauvoo, moving into Far West, moving into Salt Lake City, you had people both from the South and from the North.
And from the North.
They were able to live amicably because they were building Zion. They believed in the Book of Mormon, the Bible, personal revelation, so on and so forth. If you actually think about it, the fact that, like, living here in Los Angeles is kind of wild. For example, when October 7th happened, dude, there was a vigil for the October 7th victims at City Hall. But then, and that's by mostly American, first, second, and third generation Jews, Israeli immigrants, just sympathetic to the Jewish or the Israeli cause people. They decide there was massacre, we hold a vigil. Seems normal, right? Well, then the pro-Palestinians showed up.
Oh boy.
And they can get in the face of a Jew in America in front of City Hall with more vitriol here than they ever could back there. You know what I'm saying? Like that would not be tolerated. So, and there's no dividing line, and all of just like the basic bro LAPD cops, they don't know the difference between, this Semitic pro-Israeli guy and then this Semitic ancestrally pro-Palestinian guy, unless they're like ostensibly holding some kind of flag or something. Right. So immediately it turns into like this practical brawl where they're macing each other, where they're screaming at each other, they're faking they're going to drive into each other's cars, so that the sheriffs have to show up and have to try and split people, and like, you with that flag over there, you with that flag, and then so finally they force them to cross different sides of the street, and then they're just throwing stuff at each other, and that's just with only maybe 500 to 700 people, all right, in a suburb of Los Angeles. Think how Nauvoo and how Salt Lake City, and how in 3 different cities, 3 different times, whether it was Kirtland, Nauvoo, or Salt Lake City, Zion was built with people from Civil War era America.
Yeah, you're right.
And they never broke out into that violence.
You're right.
That we can't see 300 people get into a parking lot around City Hall without all of a sudden macing each other and coming to fisticuffs within minutes.
You're right.
Meanwhile, these people had to live with each other like as my neighbor.
Yeah.
Like a Vermonter having to live with a Mississippian, like just
you're right.
Think about that. That's intense, and that's something only Joseph Smith, the Spirit of God, the Scriptures, and Emergent Zion could have done. Yeah.
You don't have to have a testimony of Joseph Smith being an awesome president. Like that. That is not what matters. But don't let people tell you, oh, he was running for president. He was so power hungry. Like don't let him tell you that.
Yeah.
He did what he did because he wanted rest. He wanted his children and his women to be safe, their community to be safe, and it made logical sense. And they tried everything they could before he's like, shoot, now I got to get involved in politics because my dog's more fit to run than this guy.
Brutal. Yeah, there's 2 types of people that go to Washington. There's good people that recognize I have helped my people as much as I can, and I can't do anything more without more power, so I got to go to Washington. And then there's people that want to go to Washington and want power, and they say, I have to use my people in order to get there. And Joseph Smith was obviously the better of those. So anyway, unfortunately, we got a jam.
Cool.
That's all the time we have. But yeah, this was amazing. Thank you, Austin, for bringing this. For this and more.
Thank you, Spencer McBride, for the book. Check out his book. He's going to come on the show.
Okay.
He's just busy. He's going to come on the show.
Yeah, let's get him on. That's awesome. For this and more, please check us out at wardradio.com.